Hi guys, my name is Pangura and in today's video I'm going to go over the mix of the song that we recorded with Fifth Hour Band. And last week I posted a video in which I'm showing the whole process of recording the song. I may even drop some little videos from the whole process here and there in this one. But we're going to go over the whole thing, every instrument, and the point of this video is to show you how to take a very natural band recording and make it modern, make it loud, make it sound competitive, and yeah, let's get right to it.
Там, където времето лети, може би сме заедно аз и ти, но в този свят сме само спомени. В тази нощ ти всичко разруши, превърна връзката ни в сълзи, но чакам пак да се върнеш ти. Като счупено стъкло, сърцето крещи, но остава само.
This you just heard was the mix exported from my warm audio bus compressor. And let's start with the individual tracks. First, we have the bass guitar. Now, if you go back to the video, and we will go back to the video, we recorded the bass guitar using my Golden Age Project 73 clone and the Warm Audio 76, which is a 1176 clone. And as you can see from the waveform, it was pretty compressed, and we tweaked the tone of her bass guitar to get a nice overall tone, so it should be sounding pretty nice without any processing, something like this. So the first thing is this EQ, which may be strange to some of y'all because I have a high pass filter on my bass guitar. But if I play it for you now, you will both see and hear that the most of the energy of the bass guitar is somewhere around the 100 to 200. This way I'm making space for the kick, which occupies this exact region, around 50 to 60 hertz. And the next thing that I've done on the bass guitar is with this Pultec EQ, I'm boosting and attenuating the old Pultec trick at 100 and then the same at 3000 hertz, and this really brightens up and gives a body to the bass sound. So we are getting there, right? The next thing is this LA2A by UAD, and I like the gray version on bass, but I think they also have the silver, yeah, the silver and the classic. I really like the gray one, and I'm doing no more than 2 or 3 dB of compression, I think. it's very subtle, but it's there, and it helps us get that bass heard on small speakers like your phone, for example. Okay, moving on to drums. We had overheads, spaced pair around 50 inches from the center of the snare. We had a room mic, which was actually in the other room. And we got three toms, kick. I've got kick sample, more on that later. Snare top, snare bottom, and snare sample. I'm going to solo each microphone or microphone pair on the drums, and we'll talk about the processing. So yeah, those were the overheads, very ambient, but I had a couple of problems with them where, well, they're not problems, they're very usual things that happen. The snare was very loud in the overheads, so I'm ducking it a little bit with 4:1 ratio, fast attack. I'm getting rid of everything below 100 Hz, boosting some high end for the sizzle of the cymbals, and at the same time reducing some harshness. They can get very harsh at around 4K. I think you heard that. Also getting rid of some boominess around 300. And the next microphone is the room mic, and I'm barely using it. It's like almost non-existent in the verses, but I'm using a little bit of it for the choruses. So yeah, basically that's it. Room sound, but it was not very useful in my opinion this time. That's why it's just a little bit in there for the glue, and I'm using another reverb here for the room, but we'll get to that later. Now, next are the toms, and as I told you, you're going to hear and see this plugin all over the mix, and it has a reason. Now I'm going to play you this fill with the processing and then without it. Yeah, that's rock and roll, right? And basically for the toms, I'm getting rid of that boominess at around 450, adding some attack on each one of them, and also I'm compressing with 4:1 ratio, slow attack and fast release, and this helps me to get more attack out of the tom. I'm doing pretty much the same thing on all the toms, only the frequencies fluctuate a little bit, and then I'm distorting it pretty crazy, I might say. And also I send it to the reverb and I get this sound. I'm going to turn off everything again and play it one more time. Just great. Yeah, I think it sounds awesome. Let's hear it with the overheads and the rooms. And now if I flip the face on the overheads, just we get a little bit more low end out of the toms. Next is the kick drum, and I used only one microphone this time, and it was a pretty solid sound. But I wanted to add some more punch to it, that's why I used a sample too. So I'm going to play the kick now. And the sample sounds like this. It really brings up the air of the sample and the punch of the original kick. So it's a no-brainer, man. Let's go to the snare. And this is the snare bottom. On the snare bottom, it's pretty straightforward. I am getting rid of the attack of the snare, adding some snare sizzle, and gating it a little bit. But on the snare top, I have a little bit more processing. Again, I'm doing some compression here, just because the sounds had a lot of attack and not enough body, in my opinion. That's why I did this. And I'm also adding a lot of EQ to boost that body of the snare, and a little bit punch around 550, a little bit of saturation from the THD knob here on the SSL 4000E plugin. Then I'm getting rid of a bit of that tone, and most importantly, I love this gate and it sounds freaking amazing. Let's hear it without it. You're probably thinking, why do you have so much bleed in your snare microphone? Well, that's because on the snare bus, I'm compressing it a lot, and also, again, saturation. Without it, it would sound like this. Now that's more useful, right? And with the snare bottom and the sample, Now, this scent I have here, I have the same one on the toms. This is another reverb that I'm using, and now we're getting to the reverbs. And this is a snare tail reverb. I just like to combine reverbs for an interesting sound sometimes. This one is a lot longer because the main reverb for the drums is kinda short and kinda mid-range oriented, while this one has a lot of more high ends left in it. That's why the snare suddenly sounded so great and then so bad. And now I'm going to solo the whole kit, and you will hear everything I have on these buses. Now, again, I have parallel saturation, I have parallel compression right here. It's not really the main bus because all of those elements really go together for achieving such sound. Now I'm going to play every bus on its own, then together. Yeah, I think it sounds great at this point. And now we can move on to piano. And actually, this was the only instrument that we didn't record the day that we did the whole song in the video that you probably saw or will see. I played this piano on my North the day after they left because they wanted um, kind of a real acoustic piano on the song. And I like playing real acoustic piano, so I did that. And as you can see, I have very little processing on it, and I'm going to play it without the processing on the chorus. I think that this is a great sound, but as you heard, it sounded great without the EQ as well. And I'm doing a couple of things here. First, boosting a ton of high end just to get it poking out of the mix. But keep in mind that we have electric guitars, bass, drums, lower vocals, and I just wanted it to pop out of the mix just a little bit so you can hear it. And there's a trick that I really like to do with rock pianos, and it's to do a fast attack compression with a little bit of a slower release around 4:1 ratio. Just really puts it in its place and it stays there, it never exceeds the limits of its place. And also I have these two cuts. I'm getting rid of some low mids because in the verses I'm playing this. So basically that's it for the piano. And of course, a very, very important part of mixing, modern mixing. I have a whole video on this one. It's automation, man. This piano, the reverb of the piano, the drum bus, the other drum bus, the snare sample, even the kick sample, the bass guitar, the rooms, the overheads, all of these elements are automated so that I can get exactly what I want from them. And everything else, as you can see, the electric guitars, the clean guitars, the other clean guitar, and the vocals, I'm hiding them for now. I'll open them in a second. So let's move on to heavy guitars now. And we did, if you saw the video, and if you didn't, here it is. Um, we decided at the end of the session to get the guitarist a Les Paul and plug it into my Marshall amplifier. I mic'd it up with an SM57. It was actually the Shure 545, if I'm not mistaken, which is the old version of the SM57. And we tracked these guitars. Here I'm boosting some 8K, some top end. I'm also boosting some mid-range for that bite. And I'm doing some saturation here with this knob. And I have this really, really cool trick going here for the compression. I'm pulling the threshold to the end, but I'm using a very, very gentle setting. So you don't really hear the compression. You just get this glue and this solidness out of the sound. I'm going to let you hear it just now, and I have a little bit of EQ moves around here just to get rid of some boominess and some harshness around 24K. Yeah, badass, very badass. Now, we have these guitars that we overdub, and they are just single chords, very, very dreamy, very vibey. Very beautiful, very beautiful. And again, I'm boosting some high end, some mid range, the same trick with the compressor, getting rid of some low lows. And oh, I'm actually not using this EQ at all. Okay, probably I should have bypassed that or got rid of it. And I have this electric guitar verb around here. Again, the Lexicon, which I'm also using on the heavy guitars, but very little. But a lot on these ones because I want them to sound dreamy. It's the contrast in the verses and the choruses, which is very clear if I do that. So we have one more instrument here, and this is the main clean electric guitar that he plays throughout the whole song. And as you can see, I left almost everything from the initial take that we did with the band, and we made one take when we overdubbed it, just so I can have some flexibility. And I used it for the first bridge, pre-chorus, excuse me, then on the bridge, and just like two chords on the end. So yeah. Here I have a couple of interesting things going on. And the first one, this automation that I have going on here, and I'm not automating only the volume but also the EQ, because at the beginning in the intro we have sold this guitar and it's the main instrument. I boosted some 200 to give it a little bit more body, and everything else is the same, and I'm slowly reducing the boost until I get to 0 in the verses. It sounds like this. The first cut was when the drums and the bass kick in, and the second one is when the verse kicks in. I have a little bit of compression going on here, getting rid of a lot of resonances, I guess, because at some points of the song he played very, very harshly. And same plugin, the saturation one. Probably I should call this video using saturation to mix a song. But yeah, when it's needed, you just do it. You don't ask any questions. Okay, so we got to the final point of this video, and the main thing in modern popular music, it's the vocals. I have them in pink because she's a girl. No, actually no. It's because I like to see everything in almost the same cards every session, so I don't get lost in it. So what do we have going on the vocals? Well, this is the only source that I have a lot of plugins, but they are all doing very little. The first one is some cuts, and as you see, I'm using very small cues, just getting rid of a little bit of some problems in her voice.
Там, където времето лети, може би сме заедно аз и ти, но в този свят сме само спомени. В онази нощ всичко разруши, превърна връзката ни в сълзи.
Here I'm boosting some high end, and then I have a de-esser to tame the S's.
Защо излъга себе си, кажи?
Then I have the LA2A, but this is the silver one this time. I tend to prefer it on vocals.
Защо излъга себе си, кажи? Там, където времето лети, може би сме заедно аз и ти, но в този свят сме само спомени.
And again, when I'm recording, just like the bass, I'm running it through my analog compressors. So generally, I need a little bit more. I don't need a lot of compression in post-production. That's why this is doing again like 3 dB, probably around 5 on the really loud parts. Then I have a different plugin this time for saturation, and this is actually tape emulation by UAD, and it's the Oxide plugin.
Може би сме заедно аз и ти, но в този свят сме само спомени. В онази нощ и всичко разруши, превърна връзката.
And as you probably heard, it pushes some more high end, and that's why I have this multi-band compression, mostly for the de-essing, but still for some additional compression like a dB or two when it's needed.
Може би сме заедно аз и ти, но в този свят сме само спомени. Може би сме заедно аз и ти, но в този свят сме само спомени.
I have 3 different reverbs. I'm not a fan of delays. I use them when it's needed, but right here I'm just stacking reverbs, and we have one really wonk reverb.
Може би сме заедно аз и ти, но в този свят сме само спомени.
And I have another one, which is kind of a room sound, and it's a very short room.
Може би сме заедно аз и ти, но в този свят сме само спомени.
Now those two together sound like this.
Може би сме заедно аз и ти, но в този свят сме само спомени.
And a cool trick that I like to do is I have this vocal moment reverb, which is even longer and crazier. And as you see, it's at 0 almost all the time. And I'm just pushing it when I need some effects out of it. So I'm going to play you this section, going into the chorus. And the chorus is basically the same thing. I'm just boosting a little bit more high end, and probably a little bit more saturation from the tape emulation, just to get it a little bit more, emotional.
В онази нощ и всичко разруши, превърна връзката ни в сълзи, но чакам пак да се върнеш ти. Пак, като счупено стъкло, сърцето крещи, но става само.
Yeah, you get the point. She sings very, very good, and her voice is beautiful. And the only thing that we haven't discussed are the background vocals, which we have here. And they're mostly like the main vocals, just a little bit darker, and also a little bit less low end as well as high end, and a little bit more control of the sibilance, and it sounds like this.
Някога някой ден, но до тогава аз ще съм станала просто сянка в твоята тишина. Сърцето крещи, но става само.
Basically, in this song, those background vocals are just support for the main vocal. And it's cool, man. I think that we went through the whole mix. Now I'm going to play you the mix as it is, and then through the bus compressor, which I'm always printing onto the session, and then that's the thing that I'm exporting and then mastering. Yeah. So let's hear the end.
Сърцето крещи, но става само. Както преди е било, ти връщаш се, но няма.
So thank you very much for watching. This was all for today's video. Go and listen to Fifth Hour's song Няма защо, and check out the video that we did for the whole process of recording the song if you haven't already. And yeah, like and subscribe, and see you next time. Bye.
Но ти не си